Hello everyone, this is Milan from Hypermedia, and in today's video I wanna talk about action blocks. Yeah, it's kinda niche topic because it's occur mostly on IG, but it happened to me a few times with my personal account. Yes, and yeah, it is a problem. Because in the last video I talked about how to grow with engagements, and now it is an extension of that basically, or a part two if you want to say it like that. But the main reason is because IG is limiting those engagements. I mentioned it quickly on my last video, but I want to talk about action blocks and what are these and how you can get it and how you can get it off from yourself, at least a few types of it. So let's see. Action blocks are basically restricting you of any kind of activities in the platform. There are three types of action blocks. There is the first type, which is just for a few hours or maybe an hour or maybe just for a little bit. And there is the tell us and ignore button. And there is the second one, which is pretty similar to this, but it's more because it can last longer than 1 week. So the max cap is I think 2 weeks, but it can last 2 weeks. And the problem is it's basically unremovable, so you can get it off from your IG account. And the last one is an action block with an expiration date. So what is the problem with this? There are these three types. So you can get off the first one and sometimes the second one. It depends on how long. If it's 2 weeks, then you can get it off. The problem is once you get action blocked, you get shadow banned too. That's the main problem. You get shadow banned too, especially if you're growing. Getting shadow banned is basically cutting your arms off if you're shoveling dirt, or I don't know, or writing on your computer, and cutting off your fingers. And you can't even do these tactics. So by the way, if you have an expiration date or a longer time of action block, you can't even post. So you can't engage, can't like, can't comment. I think you can DM, but you can't reach out. You can just write back, I think. But to be honest, I don't know that. I get action blocked for a week. That was my max, and I couldn't post. If I recall it correctly, I couldn't post, and I got an expiration date, which was 1 week by the way, but it can last longer. It depends on how much time you did this, and yeah, basically. So how you can get from first to second to third, it's basically an upward building, because if you get the first 3 or 5 times or anything like that, you can get promoted to the second one, and after that you get promoted for the third one, which is the worst. But you can get rid of the first one, and I'm going to be talking about how to get rid of that. But for first, I want to talk about how you can get it, because that's probably a more important topic. So usually a ballpark number is 1,000 likes per day, which seems a lot, but actually it's not. And I recommend to cut it up for 60 likes per hour. That's the most amount you should do. 60 likes an hour, 30 comments an hour, 30 follow per unfollow an hour, but that's even too much. Maybe 5 to 10. So with follows, don't do more than 150 a day. 150 follows and or unfollows. So follow 75 people and unfollow 75 people. That's the max. Don't go over that limit. It's going to be, think it's about with comments 30 is the cap. Don't use more than that. Sorry. So I talked about my strategy with comments. You should turn on the post notification and comment on big pages with valuable information that can add to that content. That's all you need to know about commenting. You don't have to comment on all that stuff. Liking is good. You have 60 likes. I did not push it too far, so let's say 50 an hour. I usually do that if I do these tactics. 50 an hour, and always set a timer for 1 hour and 2 minutes. That's going to be enough to like, and then you can you can not slip into that 1 hour window, which is, by the way, it's important because if you get action blocked at the first type is usually lasts for an hour, and after your likes resets, then you can go on. And dislikes are likes for comments and anything, comments, post, anything. So you don't step over these limits. I usually do 14 to 15 hours of liking if I do these tactics with 1 hour and 2 minutes timer, and that's all. 14 to 15 hours, so from 7 to 9 or 10. Yeah, that's a little bit more actually. No, that's correct. 14 to 15 hours. But the problem, of course, is you get half hour late every day because of that 2 minutes, which is count, by the way, but we're going to be diving deep. So, like 50, comment 30, and follow unfollow at max 150 people per day. So, how you can do this the most effectively? To maximize every like, make every like and every comment count, you should use your comment or your post which you are commenting on to like a few comments down below. So you posted your comment and then go and stick around for a bit after your comment and like other comments which was good, and maybe you start an interaction and maybe comment on them, which is going to be giving you more exposure. For like, following and unfollowing, I recommend to go into the hashtags, of course, which are going to be niche hashtags. You go into the niche hashtags, get some smaller pages, follow them, and like 3 of their pictures, which I mentioned before. This tactic I probably, and this is a really good tactic to get a few followers, which maybe will be loyal followers, and if not, then DM them, talk to them, and you can convert them if you really want to. But this is all about the exposure. The action blocking is to maybe reduce your exposure a little bit. So now let's talk about how to get rid of the action blocks. Okay, so let's talk about how to get rid of action blocks if you get it. So at the first place, don't get it. Keep yourself to that streamlined numbers that I said. These are not the exact numbers. These are just estimated calculates. The problem is nobody knows the exact numbers, but these are really good calculates. I use them a lot. But there is one thing you need to know. These numbers are for an account that's older than like 6 months. That's going to work. But if you have a new account, a fully new account without anything, then you shouldn't use that numbers. You have to experiment for yourself. Maybe use half of it. And if you don't get shadow banned, and how you don't get action block, and how you know if you get action blocked, if you want to like the next post, they won't allow you get your like out. So you like it, and then you know the red heart, the heart turns red, and then it whitens again. Then stop it. If you commenting or following, that's not going to happen. But with liking, you can expect this, and if it's happened, then stop it. It's almost an action block, and it's probably are, but it doesn't come up the window of an action block. So what you need to do to get rid of action block, there are a few ways. So first is signing out of IG and then signing back. These are, you know, the basic tips that everybody gives if something wrong with IG, because if you're signing out and signing in, maybe it solves. Or deleting the IG from phone and then re-uploading it, it's going to work. But if you are using any third-party software, again, deleting your phone, deleting IG from your phone, deleting IG from your deleting the third-party software from your phone, and then again re-uploading IG and logging in. Or the basic method is using the tell us button, because there's going to be a tell us and ignore button, and if you use the tell us button, maybe they lift you. Yeah, there are some sketchier ways you can get rid of it, but I think you should wait out, and after you get shadow, after you get action blocked, for a day or two, rest it. No follows, no liking hacks. You can like posts, of course, you can follow people if you want, but not more than you would normally do as like a normal human being. And then you can slowly get back into it, but don't get action blocked 3 or 4 times, because it's not going to be good for you and for your account standing. That's the problem. The other most important thing is don't ever dare to use a bot for this. Do it yourself. If you at least you do these kind of tricks, do it yourself. Bot will 100%. I'm 100% sure that if you're using a bot for liking or for commenting for first, it's not worth any price. Or if you write it for yourself, it's not worth it to write it for yourself. Even if it's $1 per year, it's not worth it, because it's going to be throwing around shitty generic comments which are not going to get any traction, because you need some meaningful content that can give some value to that specific post, which is not going to be happen with a botted comment. So that's for first. And for second, you can use it with likes, of course you can, but don't use it, because bot can go for 24 hours. Maybe you can set it up for go to less, but man, if you're liking that many posts, you can do that in 1 minute. So yeah, you can pay for it, but don't use bot, because it's 100% sure you're going to be blocked down. It's not worth it. Not worth it, because of the shadow balance, because of the account standing and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, and IG maybe say that there is no shadow bans and there is no account standing issues with action blocks, but there are. Okay, so to be the end of the video, be careful with IG. Don't get action blocked, no matter how hard you try. Don't get action blocked. And I hope this video was helpful and helped you a lot with action blocks, because it's not an easy topic, and I see you in the next one. Goodbye, guys.